But anyway, so if you don't know who I am, then how did you ever find this podcast? But I'm Alex. I'm a YouTuber. I make cartoons about Disney Channel movies because I am a very well-adjusted adult. And this is my co-host, Ksara. Say hi, Ksara.
What up? Hello, I'm Ksara. I am not a YouTuber. I'm actually a nobody. I'm a dancer. I do backup dancing for artists and I choreograph for shows and like show clubs, that kind of stuff. But currently, I am unemployed and I have a lot of time on my hands. So here I am.
Hence, podcast. Because, you know, it's the thing. It's like, I've always thought during this coronavirus time, this quarantine time, like how many new podcasts are being started because people literally have nothing. Nothing else to do. And I mean,
it's the truth.
And I mean, like, you know, I'm a white guy and white guys are good at one thing, which is podcasting. So
I thought you were going to say colonizing. Oh my God. Anyway.
Murder, pillaging, and podcasting.
What if we say something terrible that everybody goes and unsubscribes from your YouTube for?
Well, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, you know?
Nice.
So yeah, so normally a podcast like this, I guess we would take questions, stories, whatever from the audience. But currently at this moment, we have no audience. So if you would like to, you know, send in your emails, send in your stories, your questions, your relationship things, then you can send it to devilstangopodcast@gmail.com. I'm going to say that again, devilstangopodcast@gmail.com. And then, yeah, every week or whenever we do this podcast, I guess we'll pick out a few and do the thing. So the question topic, Ksara, here. Okay. I had this question. So just to kind of date this podcast or whatever, just like a little bit. So I just put out a video about the show Degrassi, okay? And in the first episode of Degrassi, the whole story, so it takes place in 2001, or it doesn't take place, I mean, the show starts in 2001. And the whole like topic or whatever is that this 13-year-old girl meets this guy online who she thinks is a 16-year-old high school guy. Well, it's not 50,
actually
but
50.
So well, yeah, I mean, you know where it's going, right? You know, they get along well. She's like, oh, I'm so in love with this guy I've never met. And he's like, oh, my family's in town or my school's in town, whatever it is at this hotel. And I'd love to come and meet you at this hotel I'm staying at. And she's like, oh, what could possibly go wrong? Golly gee. And so she goes to the hotel. It turns out it's like this guy who, I don't know, maybe he's like 30s, 40s, whatever. This older guy locks her into this hotel room. But in the end,
I didn't realize Degrassi was this kind of show.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like I said, Degrassi itself started in 1979, but the third season, which is called Degrassi The Next Generation, I think.
It's real gritty.
It started in 2001 and it went to 2015, so it went for a long time. And yeah, it was like the 13 Reasons Why before 13 Reasons Why, where it's just like,
okay.
It's about like, you know, teen issues and like adult life issues, but like it's a Canadian show and they don't pull any punches whatsoever. The thing that got me thinking, and in the video I made a joke where it's like in 2001, the idea of meeting someone online was like super scandalous or whatever, right? But like in 2020, the only way you can like ever meet anyone is online pretty much. Because
this is true, yeah.
I mean, well, certainly in 2020 because of like coronavirus and all that, but also just in general, right? It's like the idea of meeting people in real life nowadays kind of seems absurd to me, where it's like where would I even...
Where do you go to... No, exactly.
Right? Yeah. Like, where would I even go? What would I say? How would I approach... You know what I mean? Like, and so this is a question I want to ask you because you're a girl.
I mean, yeah, I guess.
Allegedly. And
allegedly.
And so my question was like, is it even possible to meet anyone in real life anymore? What do you think? From your point of view.
Obviously I'm not speaking for all girls, but from my specific point of view, people talking to me in real life just really freaks me out and I don't enjoy it.
So, I mean, you being who you are, you get hit on, quote unquote, a lot, right?
A lot, yeah.
A lot. Well, especially being a foreigner in Japan, you kind of have this like disproportionate amount of attention thrown at you anyway.
Yeah, I mean, there's being a foreigner in Japan and just standing out, and then also the fact that Japanese people think that foreigners are inherently sexual people, so they think that I'm a lot more sexual than I am, and I'm actually very, very shy when it comes to meeting new people anyway, but they're very surprised at that. And then also, I have... for lack of a better phrase, big anime titties. So there's really no way I can get out of it. Like, generally, if I go outside at least once a day, I will have somebody try and either hit on me or get my number or follow me or try and film me or, like, generally things up that alley. Like, it happens a minimum of once a day if I ever go outside.
When I was in Japan, like, yeah, I would get people, I don't know if it was necessarily hit on. Like, I never got hit on by girls ever, but like guys.
Did you ever go to Hub?
No, I don't go to bars or anything anyway. I suppose, I mean, you know, there are places in Japan where like if you're visibly foreign and you just like walk in there, like you could just get any girl you want there, I suppose.
Oh yeah, they just run to the, oh yes, give me some of that white lightning.
No, like literally, like there are definitely places where that's true. But, you know, yeah, as a visible foreigner myself, you know, you go down the street and like, yeah, people would just scream hello, or they'll just like, where are you from? Just like across the street, they just like yell this at you. And you're like, what? Oh.
Well, like there's a group of people talking, and the second they see you, they say something really loud in English for no reason, just to try and gauge your reaction. That happens to me a lot.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, really early in my YouTube career, not my career, but my YouTube animation career, I made a video about like being in Japan. And like I talked about some of these things, but it's like, yeah, sometimes, you know, I would be at a urinal, like in like a train station or whatever. And then like someone comes in and specifically stands next to me, or if they were already next to me because maybe all the urinals were full, they look over at me and they see that I'm a foreigner, and they'll just like start talking English. Like they want like a free English lesson while we're peeing in a urinal. I'm like, are you serious right now? Are you serious right now? Yeah, so it's very strange. But going back to the main topic about like actually meeting people. So yeah, so you get people following you, people filming you on the street probably, trying to like secretly get an upskirt or whatever, like all kinds of stuff, I'm sure.
Yeah, actually this did happen to me in the supermarket. Like, I mean, I'm going a little bit off topic, but because I'm nocturnal, I go to the supermarket generally very late at night. There's generally no one there, but like last summer, like, there was this one guy, and he was following me around the supermarket, and I kept going back to, like, the same vegetable section to see if he was following me, because, like, why would you want to go to the vegetable section more than twice, right? And he was, like, holding his phone at an angle where he was, like, trying to put it under my skirt. And I always wear shorts under my skirts, but, like, it was really unnerving. He kept following me around for a good 20 minutes, and it was just really infuriating. So I actually texted my husband to say, there's a guy in the supermarket following me around, can you come and sort it out please? And he came in straight from the gym, straight after arm day, looking swole as hell, went straight up to the guy and was like, I heard that you're filming my wife. And the guy was like, and it was a great time. But yeah, sorry to go off topic, but like it really does happen like a lot.
Yeah. I mean, like, it never had really happened to me in the same way, obviously, because...
Because you don't wear skirts, that's why.
Well, I mean, yeah, I only wear mini skirts on Thursdays, so those are the days I don't go to the supermarket.
Yeah, I mean, get them pins out.
Yeah, but so, going back to the main topic about this, about the topic, where it's like, is there any scenario in which a guy could approach you in real life that would actually, like, work, or anything like that? Or, like, you know, based on your own point of view and, like, your friend's point of view, because I'm sure y'all have girls talk where you're like, boys are dumb, I hate men, whatever. Like, is there any
every day?
Is there any?
Yeah.
Is there? But like actually though, yeah.
Accurate.
But like based on your own and like things you've heard from friends, is there any way to meet someone in real life, or is online like the only way you can kind of meet someone, like potential for dating? I mean, like, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, I feel like if a girl is at a bar on her own, then maybe she's trying to meet someone. Or if there's like a group of girls at a bar and then a group of guys go up to them and, you know, they're respectful and, you know, they ask like, oh, like, what are you drinking? Like, can I buy you a drink? I mean, they don't have to buy them. I mean, we're all about equal rights here. You don't have to buy them a drink. But like, you know, if they go up like respectfully and the girls are into it, then I guess that would be like acceptable, like completely fine. But then it's when they kind of overstay their welcome, or the girls are obviously just trying to have like a nice girls' night and they're not really interested in guys, but the guys kind of still hover. Because having literally like loads and loads of different groups of guys come up to you when you're just trying to have a nice drink with your girls is so, first of all, exhausting and also worrying, because you just want to have a couple of drinks, get a little bit buzzed, but you're worried about guys maybe trying to take advantage of you when you're drunk. So in terms of when it's okay, like, I mean, I feel like a bar is a setting where it's kind of more accepted, it's kind of more acceptable in general. Otherwise, there's like, what is it, like singles parties. There we go. Singles parties. You obviously want someone to come and talk to you. Ta-da.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. I guess like if it's like a speed dating thing or a singles party thing or like something where clearly the intention is like, hey, are you sad and lonely? Come on in. Like, if that's the case, then sure. But I guess I mean just like in daily life, real world situation, like there's really no way you think where some like you're waiting for the crosswalk and some guy comes up to you and says some kind of magic phrase that you're gonna be like, oh, I've been waiting for you my whole life or whatever. Like, there's no way that could happen.
Honestly, personally, no. But then at the same time, and at the risk of sounding like a dick, like, I don't have trouble finding men. No, I mean, I'm not trying to say that I'm like.
No, I know. But I mean, like, obviously, no one listening to this is going to know what you look like. But I mean, if someone ever figured out who you were, they'd be like, oh yeah, clearly she has a Rolodex full of men. It's not even a question.
I mean, I am conventionally attractive, not like super, super, super attractive, but like, I mean, generally, I mean, if I'm going to rate myself, I'm like a strong 7, maybe an 8 if I put makeup on, probably a 9 if I lost weight, but it hasn't happened yet. But anyway, so I am not really troubled. I don't really have trouble finding men. So if men come up to me on the street, then that kind of just annoys me because I'm not really looking for one. Whereas, like, obviously girls who maybe have more trouble finding men, or girls that maybe they don't know how to approach people on the internet, they're better off in real life. I can't really speak for them because, like, someone coming up to them on the street, doing all of the, like, the legwork and talking and stuff for them, that might be, like, a really nice, like, a breath of fresh air for them, especially when the world's, like, internet dating, Tinder, like, it might just be nice to have a real life conversation with someone. But for me, I would, the thought of men coming up and approaching me when I'm just trying to go about my daily life is honestly, like, it honestly makes me really tired, like, mentally, because I'm just trying to get from A to B. I'm trying to do my groceries, I'm trying to go and buy clothes, I'm trying to do all of this stuff, but it's kind of a reminder that I am constantly being watched and I'm constantly being, like, evaluated based on, like, I mean, I know I just said that I was attractive, but, like, it's really exhausting to know that people are always evaluating your attractiveness. So, like, they're always looking at you. They're always like, oh, she is conventionally attractive, I should go and talk to her. Like, it's just, it reminds you that you're not a slab of meat, but, like, it does remind you that you are always being watched. And I hate it.
Yeah, I guess
to be totally honest,
no, yeah, when you put it that way, well, again, like, being a foreigner in Japan, like, I felt similar things, not nearly on the same level, but just the idea that, like, yeah, you're, like, the idea that someone's just always looking at you and watching you, and whatever you do, they're gonna somehow talk about it and think about it, and, like, yeah, like, it's really it's really concerning in a lot of ways. But okay, so all these guys' dreams of, like, going up to girls in the supermarket and saying some, like, clever joke about apples or whatever, it's not gonna work. That's what you're saying.
I mean, don't go up to women in the supermarket because, honestly, we're just trying to buy Nutella and, like, powdered donuts at 2 a.m. Like, leave us alone. But, I mean, as long as you know when your welcome has finished, or you know how to take a hint that the girl is not interested, like, I mean, bars, I think, are perfectly fine. Like, I mean, bars are kind of... I'm not saying that they're made for that kind of stuff, but, I mean, it's a lot more acceptable for those kind of interactions to happen. And I don't know, I mean, I read a lot of, like, meet-cute fan fiction, so, like, they were, like, at the same table in the cafe, or, like, they were in the library, and their fingers touched over the same book, like, that kind of stuff. Like, I mean, it's great in theory, but in practice, like, I'd say stick to bars. But, like, I mean, I don't drink alcohol, so what happens to people who don't drink alcohol? Y'all can just have cranberry juice, I guess.
Well, that was always something for me back, like, when I was single or whatever. I mean, I'm talking, years and years ago when I was in Japan, right? Where it's like... Mm-hmm. Like, yeah, like, because I don't drink, there was, like, no scenario in which I could have ever met anyone in real life anyway. Because, yeah, like, walking down the street, like, talking to random girls, I mean, I would never do that anyway, but it's like, yeah, like, clearly, like, I've heard so many stories that it's like, how any guy still thinks that's the way to go, I don't understand. But, because, like, if you just, like... Yeah, if you just, like, go on any social media, all you'll hear about is girls complaining about, like, guys can't take a hint. Guys think that a smile means an invitation. Guys think all these things. And so it's like, as a guy myself, I would internalize that and be like, okay, I'm not going to be one of those guys at all. Now, the end result is that I was just, like, incredibly lonely for so long because there's no way to meet anybody except for online.
True.
But yeah, I think also with anything online, I think it's so much easier to say something when you type it out instead of like saying it in real life, like with your voice.
Yeah, absolutely, for me too.
Right, and so it's like you can say things that are kind of cheesy, kind of flirty, kind of whatever, and it feels so much easier to write it out instead of like trying to say it in real, because it's always like awkward and it's like, I mean,
like in real life, how are you supposed to just write the eggplant emoji, the peach emoji, and the like the splashing water emoji? Like, how am I supposed to say that in real life?
Like if I was single, just walk up to some girl and be like, eggplant, sweat drips, what's up?
She would run and you would be arrested. But I mean, that's a good thing about being online. You can use emojis to convey your meaning. You can just send them a winking emoji. Everything's fine. It's like, hey girl, eggplant.
I guess you can do that. So once again, going back to our relationships, complete goldmine of just the worst things that happen to other people that we can all just feel better about ourselves that it's not happening to us. You know what I'm saying?
Love it. We thought that we had it bad with coronavirus, but not my GF27 and I. They have it way worse.
So yeah, this first one here. My girlfriend, 27, and I, 30-year-old male, I assume, have an argument over something silly, and this happens. Okay, so here's the story. My girlfriend once got mad at me over the fact that I didn't want to work out one particular day because I just didn't feel like it. Now, this is normal. I feel like this sometimes you don't feel like working out,
every day.
She starts this put-down show where she just keeps going on and on saying like, look at you, your tummy is so big. Look at me. I have a good body. So many guys are after me. Just check out my Instagram DM request. Okay, first of all, I'm going to stop right there.
First of all, put her in the bin.
Throw her in the garbage now. I don't even need to read the rest of this. Why would you date someone who specifically...
How much is left from this? Like, can we stop it here?
I mean, yeah, like everything else is just like extra reason why you should not be with this person. I mean, it gets worse the further on down you go. But already, like, I mean, to be with someone who like would physically put you down that way anyway. Like, let's say like, oh, I don't feel like working out, and she's like, oh, your stomach's kind of getting a little big there. Like, what are you hoping to gain by saying that? Especially now, this comes from me. So I was fat for a lot of my life, right? And so I still have like the fat kid mentality where it's like, I see myself in the mirror and I'm like, okay, like I don't look so bad. But when I think of myself in my head, I think of the fat kid. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, I got it.
And so like I'm a lot better about it now just because like I know, because I work out, 3 or 4 times a week. Like I try hard and I know that I physically look okay for a guy who's 32 and watches Disney Channel movies for a living. But I look okay. It could be worse. But it's like, yeah, if I was with someone who would, yeah, it's like, oh, I'm not going to work out today because I'm too tired. And it's like, well, I don't know, maybe you should because you got them little muffin top going on. Like, to be with someone who says that, like, even as a joke, I feel like that would get really old really quick. You know what I mean? Like
after the first time. And if someone said that to me, I would, first of all, cry. And then second of all, I'd start eating, like, to spite them and also to spite myself, I guess. But, like, if anybody said that to me, that would just be the end of it, honestly. Like, I can't believe this is even being talked about on the internet. Like, put her in the bin, that's the end.
Yeah, no, for real. And then the second part, right? Look at me, I'm so hot, I'm so sexy, so many guys are after me. Just look at my Instagram DM request. What is wrong with this? Like, I mean, that's probably any girl on the internet who's reasonably attractive gets a lot of weird like DM requests and like a lot of weird messages and all that. Like that's
still being a little bit too good about it. Like any girl on the internet who has an internet connection, honestly, like you don't even have to have hands, you don't have to have anything. Just be vaguely female on the internet and you already have those things. Like she's not really saying that much.
Yeah. Again, it's like, first of all, like rubbing that in your boyfriend's face is just weird because it's one of those like truths that everyone knows, and it's like you just kind of have to like look past it. Like, oh, like especially if you're dating someone who's like really, really attractive, or even even like you. I imagine your DMs on Instagram, whatever, must be just horrendous.
We don't talk about my DMs on Instagram.
Like, imagine it just must be just a cavalcade of garbage.
It is. It's a cesspool, but sometimes there's like really interesting ones, and I put them on my Instagram story so everyone can laugh at them.
So, if anyone ever figures out who Ksara is, don't DM her because she'll put you on blast.
Not do it. Give everyone some entertainment.
She's gonna put you on blast. But yeah, so it continues on. It gets worse. It continues on. It says, she says to her boyfriend, has even a single girl ever approached you? Okay. in the garbage. Not even, no, put her in a blender, okay? Put this girl in a human blender. Wood chipper. Throw in the wood chipper, all right?
Wood chipper!
Now,
we don't condone violence, but literally off this girl. Off her.
Now, so they end up having an argument about this. And then she says, like, oh, you came into this room to hit me, right? Of course you did. And then when he leaves the room, she pretends to call 911 to claim that there's been a domestic abuse case. But then he finds out later that she was just playing. She was acting. And then she says, he says here, I asked her, didn't you call the cops? And she says, no, I didn't. I just wanted to grab your attention.
What?
Run as far as you can, okay? And here's the thing, right? This girl is 27. You know, you're a real piece of work sometimes too, I would imagine.
I am, yeah, absolutely, like all the time, but like not this bad.
Not like this, right? Like you're not going to be like your husband and be like, I'm going to pretend to call the police on you so that you'll acknowledge that I exist. I don't know. It's so weird. Like,
there's better ways to get attention. Like,
you just like walk
get
with
your tits out.
Yeah, walk with them naked or something like that. Like, what do you need? What do you need this weird? This is weird, man. This is weird.
Really weird.
Yeah, so there is literally, like, that's the thing about reading some of these our relationships things is because it's like they're posting this thing and it's like, here's what my boyfriend does, here's what my girlfriend does, here's whatever. And it's like, what should I do about it? And it's like, I feel like
leave?
Yeah, I feel like the fact that you have no other option but to go on Reddit and post it should be enough of a red flag to know that, like, you should probably just get out of there because there's nothing. Like, I mean, I assume, okay, so she's like, I'm so hot, I have a good body. So I assume, what am I, Australian? I assume she's very attractive, right? And so, like, maybe he's holding on because, like, she's way out of his league or something like that. And somehow they got together. And then he's like, oh, but, like, what if I can't touch her boobies anymore? You know? But, like, I don't know.
There are many a titty in the world. You may touch all of the titty that you want.
There are over 7... actually, you know what? I was going to say there's over 7 billion boobs in the world, but I mean...
There might be.
I mean, that's probably true, but like some of those are kids and some of those are old people, so we should narrow... There's at least 1 billion boobs in the world that you can legally touch, assuming
with permission.
Assuming you have consent and permission. Yeah, but I'm saying...
Of course.
Optimistically speaking, there's at least a billion boobies out there for you, okay? Like, I don't care how hot your girlfriend is or you know, what she puts in her mouth or whatever it is. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, trust me.
There is other hot girl titty that you can fondle in the future. You don't have to put up with this. It's ridiculous. Like, is he asking for advice? Is he saying, like, what should I do? Because there's really no way out of this. Like, I mean, if she's pretending to call the police, like, for attention, I really don't know what to say about that, apart from she's a slag and you should bin her.
Yeah, like I said, there is no saving this. I can't, I mean, again, I don't know, like, every single detail of their relationship, but, like, just hearing the fact that she would ever, even once, say, like, I'm hot, all these guys are after me, you're fat, you know, like, anyone who would say that in a relationship is just a horrible person. Like, I don't even care what the context is. Like, why would you ever say that? You know what I mean?
In the bin.
So, throw her in the bin. Throw her in the garbage can.
In the trash compactor. Next.
Put her in the wood chipper. Next one. Now, this next one is a little bit different. I can't really relate to this one myself, but I thought this would be interesting because most of my audience is women, and you're a woman, so maybe you can relate to this. Yep. It says here, a group of women who bullied me, 23-year-old female, at my work, and they're 20s to 30s, invited me to one of their wedding showers. Do I go? Now, here's the story, okay?
That's easy. That's easy. No.
Okay. But let's just get into it, okay? Because, you know, whatever.
Okay.
So, very female-oriented field, very competitive. I started this job about 6 to 8 months ago, and there was a group of women who immediately targeted me just for being me. It's not everyone in the office, but just this group of women. I'm 23. They all range from 24 to about 32. Okay. So I would describe it more as a clique. Obviously. Duh. That's how it works. Mm-hmm. They make up rumors about me. They tried to get me in trouble with my boss. They made up lies about me. At some point, I went to my boss. They just sat there and ignored me at work. They would make me suffer and watch me run around because they don't like helping, etc., etc. Very toxic atmosphere, you know, all that stuff. Now, every time I come back to work, I see one of them and they act like we're all best friends and they're so happy to see me. One of them the other day gave me an invitation to the ringleader's wedding shower. I said, I don't have my schedule right now. Let me get back to you. I don't know if I should go to this. I don't think I should go. I think I should just give them a card and a gift or something. I feel like this might be a setup. Okay.
Honestly, it sounds like Carrie. Sounds like Carrie. You all know how Carrie ended.
So her question, whatever, is like, I was invited to a work shower for someone's wedding. They bullied me pretty bad, and so did their friends. I don't want to go, but what should I do about this? I'm 23 and they're whatever. So I think you have two. Okay, speaking as me, who is not a woman, either A, don't go, or B, show up and just ruin the whole thing. Just show up drunk as heck. Just vomit all over the cake. Just do a striptease on the table. Just ruin the whole thing.
Love it. But then you have to find a new job.
But I feel like she should find a new job anyway, considering the work environment.
Yeah.
Like this could be how she quits the job. I mean, I assume the boss is not there, but I'm just saying in general. Do that.
Good way to go out.
Just do that over the weekend and then just never show up again. That's what I would do. But now, okay, so it's no secret that male friendships versus female friendships are very different, right? No secret.
Are we calling this a friendship, first of all?
Well, I mean, okay, let's say, definitely not a friendship, but the inter-women relationships are very different than inter-men relationships. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, men do kind of bully other men as well, but I feel like it's not nearly as like on like an emotional type of level. Like men would just kind of like...
Yeah, we don't really get psychological.
Yeah, like men, they'll just punch you in the shoulder or they'll do like pranks and stuff, but I think generally speaking, men are pretty chill with each other, more or less.
I'd like to believe so. I mean, it'd be terrible if you were just as bad as we are.
Yeah, just based on my own experience. Like, I mean, because I'm really busy and because I'm in my 30s, like I don't really hang out with lots of guys anymore anyway. But just in general, it's like, men will be mean to each other and they'll like make fun of each other. But in general, I feel like men are pretty chill and they don't try to like give each other eating disorders or whatever. Whereas it seems to be that women relationships are not that way. So now is your time on the podium.
Okay.
Tell me, like, have you ever been in this type of situation,
yes.
or have you ever had like women bullying each other, or like?
I went to an all-girls school, so my high school life is basically this. I mean, first of all, high school is a shitty experience for everybody, but also being autistic, and especially when female autism isn't really very much understood, especially back then as well. Like, oh my God, I'm talking like I'm super old. I'm not that old. But like, I mean, going to an all-girls school obviously is very cliquey. We didn't have like, like the popular kids and that kind of stuff like you do in America. It was just like different friendship groups, I suppose. But I got bullied pretty badly, probably due to the weird shit I used to do due to being autistic. So like, actually, funny thing about that, I looked on Facebook and one of the girls that bullied me the most has a special needs child now. And obviously children are never like a burden or like a punishment. But I think that she's definitely learned a lot about patience and acceptance now. So I'm happy for her about that. Like, I hope she's having a great life. Not sarcastically, I actually do hope she's having a great life. But anyway, this sounds honestly horrific. Like, I've been in these kinds of situations before where they kind of like to treat you like their weird little pet because you're weird. Like, I'm gonna try and explain this. Like, if it doesn't make any sense, then you can cut it out. But like, I think a lot of neurodivergent people, especially when they're at school, like a lot of people who are on the autistic spectrum, they were kind of weird, like they didn't fit in, they were kind of left out as an outcast. But then for some reason, for like a couple of weeks, generally all of us have this experience where like the popular girls, quote unquote, will come and like treat you like their weird pet. And they're like, say that funny thing, say that weird thing that you said the other day, it was really funny, make us laugh. Or like, oh, come along, we'll teach you how to be normal. And like, they kind of try and take you under their wing for like a couple of weeks. Then they get bored and like move away from it. But like, it is a horrific experience. And I feel like a lot of autistic people have gone through this experience as well. But in terms of female relationships, like female bullying is the worst. It is, I mean, like, normally you'd expect them to just, like, beat you up and be done with it, but oh no, they go after your friends, they go after your family, they go after you online, they really do not let up. So in this case, it just sounds like they're setting her up to have a bunch of pig's blood poured on her, like in that one movie.
Yeah, the whole thing about, like, being your little pet, or you being their little pet, that reminds me, like, being a foreigner in Japan, I'm not trying to compare my experience to yours, but I'm just saying it's like, it also kind of feels that way in general, don't you think? Like,
oh, absolutely. Like, so I don't have any Japanese friends.
The Japanese people, they'll be like, if you make a mistake in Japanese, like a grammatical mistake, or you pronounce a word wrong or whatever, like, and then like they'll like tell their friends like, oh, it's so cute how, you know, he doesn't know how to say this word, or instead of this word, he said that word. Say the thing you said again. Oh, that was so funny. And like that just made me so annoyed. Just in general.
Yeah,
it's
I get
like,
it.
You know what I mean? Because like I'm not. If I was doing a comedy bit and I did it on purpose or whatever, then sure, that's funny. But it's like when you're just trying to have a normal conversation and then they're like, oh, what did you say? Look at you. I have
it worse with English. So obviously making mistakes in Japanese, like blah, 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 it's like everybody does it. However, like when I was at school, I went to a technical college in Japan, and I was the only foreigner in the class. Everything was in Japanese. So anyway, I was giving a presentation and I said a word and I didn't say it as, it was an English word, but I didn't put a Japanese accent on it. I just said it like I would in English, and everybody burst out laughing. Like, oh my god, like your pronunciation is so good. I'm like, well, first of all, obviously, because it's my first language, and my pronunciation is going to be great. Second of all, what is so funny about my native language that you're going to have to laugh so hard about it? Like, if you've seen on like TV how, like, you know, the foreign talents and stuff. I mean, I see it because I'm on TV. Like the foreign talents, their one trick is saying a word in English, and everyone literally cracks up. Like, I mean,
yeah, it's the dumbest.
Not naming names, but this one guy,
not naming names, but literally all of them. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, all of them, but specifically this one guy. Like one of his main jokes was just saying he'd be beatboxing. He'd be like fantasy, and people would like literally like eat it. Well, I mean, like good for him getting his bag. Like get your bag, Ike. Get your bag. However, like you're like a little performing trick monkey for them, speaking your native language, and they think it's hilarious. Like, it gets me so angry.
Oh no, for real. Like you know, in the early days when I was in Japan, I was also trying to be a foreign talento. And I finally got on TV eventually doing like comedy type stuff, like whatever. I always wanted to be a comedian just in my life in general. And so now I actually get to do it with self-respect. But, you know, in Japan,
self-respect?
No. Okay. You know what? I exaggerated. No, I don't. I mean, you know, being a 32-year-old man watching Lizzie McGuire for a living is kind of like, what am I doing with my life? But anyway, being a foreign talent in Japan, it's like, yeah, you are literally like scum. They bring you out and it's like, do your one little trick, dancing monkey. And then, okay, please get off stage and don't say anything. Don't say anything else about anything, but just do your thing and then goodbye. And like, that's what it was like. I finally got on TV twice, not anything major like what you've been on, but just kind of like late night TV stuff. And then after the second time, I was like, yeah, no, this is not for me. Nope, I'm done. So I just couldn't hack it. Like I do have a little bit of respect for the people that like, they just shed all dignity, all self-respect, and they're just like, I'm getting paid, so I'm just gonna do this thing, and that's gonna be my shtick for 5 years. Like, I mean, I have to respect them a little bit because like, I couldn't do that. I quit after 2 times. So people who do this for years, it's like, I don't know how you do it.
On one hand, I respect it. On the other hand, by conforming to it, they're not really making any waves. They're not making it better for the people who are going to come after them. So I do have to say that I'm not 100% on board with that. But I mean, I don't really do variety all that much anymore. So I'm safe now. Middle fingers up.
But I mean, I honestly feel like in the last couple months, you know, online, there's been a huge surge in that OnlyFans thing that a lot of girls are doing now. And like, I totally kind of get it, just because it's like, yeah, like it's hard for people to find work. It's hard for anyone to find work, or work that pays well enough, or work that's, you know, safe enough, because obviously you don't want to be around too many people too often, especially here in the United States. And so it's like, yeah, there's a way you can just like sit in your bedroom and take some sexy pictures and get like a couple $1,000s a month. It's like, I mean, I would if I was in that situation. I probably would.
A lot of people have actually recommended it to me. They're like, why don't you start an OnlyFans? Because, like, I mean, big anime titty. And also, one of my friends, she shows, like, pole dance tricks and stuff. You know, I pole dance as well. But, like, I don't have that kind of energy. Not like, oh, it's like too much hassle. Not like that kind of stuff. I mean, you know, taking a cute selfie is one thing. Taking a cute selfie where your face, hair, body, titty, sex appeal, but not too much sex appeal, you can't be too slutty, like that would just be really exhausting. And then to have my stuff just leaked after like a day.
So last one here, last little relationships topic thing. And this is something that I feel like is relatable to a lot of people in general. So it says here, I, 24-year-old female, am not comfortable with my boyfriend, 23-year-old male, playing video games while talking to me on the phone. Okay, here's the story. My boyfriend and I have been together for almost 2 years, and for the past few months, we've been mostly apart with each other due to coronavirus. Our communication mainly revolves around texting and phone calls. He's not much of a texter, but we have phone conversations every other day. That seems normal to me. It seems fine. However,
there's always
90% of the time, he's playing World of Warcraft or another video game during the call with me. I told him in the past I wasn't sure how I felt about him being on WoW while we're on the phone, but he said he's able to listen to me and play games simultaneously, so I shouldn't be worried. Now, here's where it gets a little more interesting, and here's where, obviously, you, Ksara, can speak a lot more than I can. He says he was diagnosed with ADHD and autism in the past, and perhaps that means he has to always be doing something stimulating. I don't know. I feel fine giving him my full attention in a call, but I've never felt the need to multitask. Sometimes if he's silent after I say something, I ask him to repeat what I just said, and he does it correctly.
Oh, okay.
Sounds like some weird kind of like pop quiz, hot shot. What did I just say? Now, I get that I'm supposed to feel reassured that he's listening, but deep down, I still feel ignored. This style of quote-unquote communicating has been going on for a while, and I get the impression that I'm supposed to be okay with this. Am I being a control freak if I ask him to turn off his game, or is it a reasonable request to make? So, now again, now there's the whole ADHD autism thing, so I'm going to put that to the side for just a second here. I feel like if you're talking every other day, then I feel like, in my opinion, right? Like if you can only talk to each other once a week or maybe twice a week, then I would prefer if the other person gave me their full attention. But if it's like every day or every other day, so what, you're talking like 3-4 times a week at this point, I feel like it's more about just kind of, I feel like for me, it would be more about just having kind of sharing that time together, even though maybe you're not like constantly talking about something super interesting all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because it's like, it's like we just want to, because you can't see each other because coronavirus, which again, that sucks for everyone. No question. And so it's like, if the only time you can really see each other is like on FaceTime or talking on the phone, it's like, I think at that point it'd just be more about spending the time together. And it's like, hey, what are you doing? Oh, I'm playing World of Warcraft. What are you doing? Oh, I'm just doing my nails. And it's like, oh, let's talk about, look at these funny memes. Look at this. It's like, I feel like that was what would be more beneficial than like, okay, stop everything you're doing and let's talk about the same thing we talked about 3 days ago again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because what would you even talk about if you're talking every other day? Like, surely nothing interesting could have happened. Like, nothing that interesting should have happened, at least.
Yeah, although I feel like every day something in the news is crazy going on. But I mean, aside
but
from that,
like we have Twitter.
Yeah, right. It's like how many murder hornets can you really talk about? You know what I'm saying? But now we're going back to the autism ADHD thing. Okay, now this is obviously one of the reasons why I wanted you on the podcast in general is because we're friends, but also because you have a very different life experience than I have. So with your autism, do you also have a need to kind of always be fidgeting or doing something? Or
yeah, but it doesn't. So I generally won't use it for I will be multitasking. Like, I'll be doing something with my hands, I'll be doing something with my feet. I'll generally be doing something, but when it comes to like playing video games and talking to people, I actually can't concentrate on two things at once like that. Like, a body part of mine has to be doing something, but I'm really bad at actually multitasking. That's me personally, but if I can shove this in here, my husband has ADHD and then I have autism, so it makes a really interesting household. He has to be doing something at all times, always. So he's just constantly tickling his own nipples or something like that? What's he doing? Yeah, constantly. Like, it's you can't get away with this constant nipple tickling. But yeah, so
we've all been there. Like,
we have all been there. But yeah, so I feel like I can speak from personal experience from this because he is always doing something. Like, if I have to say something very important, then I generally have to give him a time and say, I need to talk to you very specifically about something very important at this time. Please, can you, like, give me your full attention then? And kind of, like, if you give him a countdown, then he'll, like, freak out because, like, having time rules actually doesn't, like, having schedules kind of generally tends to freak out people with ADHD, whereas people with autism generally have to have schedules or they freak out. So it's an interesting relationship. But, yeah, like, from my own personal experience, a lot of people that I've met with ADHD, including my husband, they do have to be doing two things at once, but they generally tend to do them both with really good, like, efficiency. And obviously, as we can see here, because I mean, he's repeating back what she said to her, so he is listening. But I mean, I get where she's coming from. But at the same time, I mean, she said specifically, like, he was diagnosed with ADHD and autism. Maybe it means he has to be doing something stimulating. I don't know. But then she goes on to say, well, I feel fine giving him my full attention, but, like, you totally have a completely different brain wiring to him. So
are you okay, Ksara?
I'm really not. But yeah, like, I mean, it's very confusing to me because, like, she understands that he has these things and maybe it might be the reason, but then she goes on to say, like, well, and it's like, well, we're not talking about you right now, we're talking about him right now, and maybe you might have these things, and, like, having a mental, I don't want to call it an illness, but, like, being neurodivergent, like, it's not our fault. Sometimes it has to be our responsibility. Like, we do have to take responsibility for some things, and especially when we're in a relationship, you need to explain to your partner, okay, well, my autism causes me to do things like this. I need you to understand that. It might be a bit difficult, but please, like, let's work through it together. Like, we do have a responsibility, especially to the people that we love, to explain these things, but it's not our fault. And if you can understand it, then that would actually make it a lot easier for everyone. I feel like if she knows, why is this still a problem?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, the way that she kind of talks about him, where it's like, I know he can multitask, and he was diagnosed with autism in the past. And then, yeah, she turns around and she's like, but me, a neurotypical person, doesn't need to do this, so why does he? And it's kind of like, you literally just answered your own question with what you just explained here.
I mean, if she's listening, I don't see the problem. I don't see the problem, but, like, I mean, if she's mentioned it, that she doesn't like it, and he's been like, okay, but I am listening. Like, I don't understand why it's being dragged out this much, but maybe because I am autistic and I would expect my partner to understand that.
If you were in this situation, let's say, you know, your boyfriend or your husband, whatever, was always, you know, playing a video game or something like that while talking to you on the phone, would that bother you the same way it bothers her, or would you maybe be more understanding of it, or would you be playing a game at the same time too, and so it doesn't matter? Or, like, what do you think?
Honestly, I might be playing a video game at the same time too. Like, we do have to take that into consideration. But, like, if my partner had, like, ADHD or autism or something like that, and I knew that, then I'd be like, I'd probably check with them, like, okay, I just need to check, is the fact that you're always playing video games, is there a reason for it? Like, do you always need to be doing something? Is it something to do with, like, is it is it stimming? Is it something like that? Like, because I want to understand. And if they said, yeah, it makes me feel a lot better, a lot more comfortable if I do it, then it's like, okay, cool. Well, as long as you're still listening to my conversation, then that would be cool. Like, I mean, obviously we need a lot more communication here. Personally, if it was me, I would bring it up and be like, I don't really like it all that much. Is there any way that you could kind of, like, compromise a little bit and maybe play video games for less of the time? But then if they turn around and say, well, due to being ADHD, due to having ADHD, I would prefer to be doing something stimulating all the time, I'd be like, cool, well, that's that then.
Yeah, I mean, the number one thing with probably literally any relationship problem at all is kind of like communication, which I know is super cliche.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, it's like,
but still people don't do it.
Like, that's one really good thing that's going on in my relationship right now, is like there was some things that sort of, I mean, nothing like super dramatic, but there's, you know, a thing that like really kind of bothered me in a way, and then I brought it up, and then she was like, okay, and then she kind of stopped doing it or did it less or whatever, and then like that was that. And I was actually really kind of surprised, because I think I've never been in a relationship where someone was actually like took my feelings into consideration, which was kind of nice.
Damn, imagine being in a relationship that's
I know.
not
Can you
toxic,
believe that those exist? What the heck? No one told me. We took 32 years to figure this out.
Never. I mean, considering I'm the problem in most of my relationships, I can't even imagine it.
I mean, do what you got to do, I guess. But I mean, you're married, so clearly something worked out somewhere. But well, I guess given my life experience, that's not always the case. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. That's we'll say that for episode 50 of the podcast. But yeah, I'm also
stay tuned.
Yes, stay tuned for the next year, and then maybe you'll hear my life story. But I'm also someone who I cannot multitask. Like, I really can't. It's like I focus 110% of my attention on one thing at a time.
Yeah, same.
And so like if I'm working on a video for YouTube or whatever, it's like that's what I'm doing. Or if I'm texting someone and having conversations, like that's all my brain can think about. Is like texting and then waiting for their reply and then thinking of my reply. Like that's my brain's just focused on that. So trying to like jump back and forth between like different things is really difficult for me. So usually it's like, yeah, when I'm working, it's like I like never touch my phone for like hours because it's like I can't think that way. So I get how, me as someone who focuses all my attention on something singular, I would probably also be somewhat annoyed if the person I'm talking to was playing a game the whole conversation, that in and of itself, I don't think would bother me. But like if kind of like she mentions a little bit here, like if it becomes apparent that they're not listening or they're really quiet or whatever, or like, you're talking and all they ever say is like, that's crazy.
And people like that without even playing video games. So. That's
true. Now that I say it out loud, that's actually very true. Yeah, sometimes there's literally nothing to say except So like,
that's crazy.
That's crazy.
Damn.
She's just jealous. Haha. That's funny. That's kind of all you end up saying. It's kind of like when someone tries to like describe their dreams to you, and like they're telling you all these things about all these people.
Is that everyone when I describe my dreams to them? Because I do this every morning when I wake up.
Well, I mean, I guess it depends on the dream, but usually when people like try and tell you like a dream they had, and it's like, it always includes people you don't know. And it's always in like some weird situation that makes no sense to you, but makes sense to them, and it's like, well, I was driving with my coworker. I think it was maybe it's my boss. I'm not sure. But anyway, and then in the road, there was it was like a dog or maybe it was a deer. I don't really remember. But anyway,
no way.
Yeah, exactly. And then all you can say is like, that's pretty cool. I'm really glad you're telling me this now at 3:00 in the morning. Thanks. but yeah, I mean, again, if assuming this guy really does have ADHD and or autism, then it's like, yeah, I think that's just something you just kind of have to understand. And it's like, he needs to be doing something with his hands to pay attention. And it's like, well, I mean,
hey-o.
If it's games, it's games. If you give him like a little stress thing to squeeze with the eyes pop out, whatever, like do that, I guess. I don't know. Like do what you gotta do.
I love those.
But
yeah, absolutely. Like, I mean, there could definitely be a little bit of compromise here, like maybe in one direction if they're both willing. But yeah, I think it just comes down to if she knows that maybe it has to be doing something due to him having ADHD, like I think that's kind of not, I don't want to say her responsibility, but kind of her responsibility to kind of like deal with it. If he's still listening, I don't see the problem.
Well, I mean, I think again, as someone who is not not neurodivergent, it's like, yeah, definitely like it's okay. This is just my point of view. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a professional or anything like that. Okay. It's my point of view. My opinion is like, the person who has the neurodivergent attributes, shall we say, it's their responsibility to deal with it the way that they need to in a healthy, productive way. And also to let the person that they're with know that this is who they are. Because yeah, like you said, it's certainly not their fault, but it is their responsibility, right?
Absolutely.
And then for being on the other side, then it would also, I think, should be that person's responsibility to, acknowledge and like respect that that's a part of them, instead of just being like, oh, you're so autistic, or whatever, you know what I mean? And then to kind of meet in the middle that way. Because if you really want to be with that person, then you kind of have to like accept the good and the bad to a certain extent. Like obviously, you don't need to just accept every single flaw, no questions asked.
Yeah, like that bitch from the first one we were talking about, like throw her in the bin immediately. You don't have to accept that kind of shit. But I mean, you do have to accept like parts of them that maybe you don't 100% love.
But again, that's what makes them who they are. And so it's like, if you really love that person, then if you really love that person, then like you can't really expect them to be perfect in every way, because that would be ridiculous.
Absolutely.
But you just kind of have to deal with it. And I feel like if you can be with someone, whatever their issues or problems or divergencies or whatever those are, if you can work on them together as a team, if you see, whatever the problem, the situation is, not even necessarily about mental things, but just in general, right? Like whatever the problem is, if you can see the problem as a problem that is separate from the two of you that you need to work on together, instead of like, oh, her problem or his problem. You know what I'm saying? like there's a problem in the relationship, and then it's like, okay, we as a team are going to tackle this problem together, instead of being like, oh, she has this problem and she needs to get her shit together. You know what I mean? Like, I think if you see it way, then that's a good sign of a healthy relationship, I think. Not that I would know. Well, I mean, things are going pretty good now, but up until now, it's never quite been the case. So,
I mean, I absolutely agree, especially with what you said earlier about how wow, I forgot already. Wait.
I love the thing you said. I totally forgot, but I loved it. Anyway, so we're going to wrap it up there, everybody. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed. Hope you learned something that you didn't know before, or maybe just reinforced your own thoughts, or maybe you hate this podcast. You know what? Whatever. Thanks for watching, everybody.
I mean, we covered a lot of things.
You know, I'm Alex. You can find me on Twitter or YouTube, although you probably already know that, because how would you have found this podcast otherwise? And Ksara doesn't exist. So
I don't exist.
Ksara,
I'm from space.
Ksara is just in all of your heads at this point. So
I'm astral projecting in everyone's dreams.
Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. See you next time. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.